Hmm? It's you. It shouldn't surprise me that you find yourself washed upon the shores of my domain once again. Ever since I first laid sight on you, I couldn't shake the inexplicable feeling of desperation and worthlessness. You just have something about you that screams pushover. Now, dear, there's no reason to cry. You did this to yourself. You are at fault again for being so weak and pathetic. Did you really think you were special? That you were some kind of hero, destined to leave your mark on the world by aiding the weak and fighting for good? What a ridiculous notion. You look a bit worse for wear since we last spoke, dear. Bloodied, missing an arm, guts lying on the floor. I knew you were an idiot, but to die such a shameful death, with my powers, unforgivable. I had to crush your soul into dung and feed it to the worms. Maybe then you will be of some use. Hmm? I can't hear you over your disgusting sobbing. Maybe I should continue what they started and rip out your eyes and tongue just so that I don't have to listen to your imbecilic sniffles. Not the worst idea I had when gazing upon you. Ugh. Darling, 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 look at me. Open those puny little eyes of yours and look at me. Good. Do you remember the first time we met? You looked so much younger then. Long hair, carefree smile, exuberant eyes. Now look at you. Look how much you were reduced by your foolish ideals. This is where your pride got you. 12 years later, wrinkles and missing limbs. And you could have had it all. You could have lived like a debauched monarch if you used the power I granted you selfishly. Men, women, gold, fame, all were within your grasp, but you squandered every chance you had. Back then, do you remember what you said to me? Do you remember at all our first little rendezvous? Of course you do. One does not simply forget the moment they sold their soul. 12 years ago, in a shaded grove, you were on your knees crying. It was pure coincidence that I heard your whimpers at the edge of my domain. A lone, foolish human child lost deep in the forest. Who knows what could have happened to you if I hadn't shown up? A pack of wolves might have torn you to shreds, or a poisonous thorn scraped your skin, resulting in a slow and painful death. That day I was feeling generous, much more than I am now. I sent forth my image through the realms and appeared before you as a spirit of the forest. Kind, gentle, caring, an appropriate act for a confused and helpless child. I truly had no ill intentions. I just wanted to show you out. Do you remember what happened next? When I grabbed your soft hand and tried to lead you out of the haunted forest? Oh, how could you not? The way you begged, screamed, and pleaded as hot tears ran down your cheeks. I still remember that look upon your face. It has been forever frozen in the ice of my castle, for I could not part with the memory. Anger, grief, desperation, and a little bit of foolhardiness. As soon as I intertwined the fingers on our hands, you fell to the cold, muddy ground and looked at me with those pathetically pitiful wells of despair. Though you were young, even for a mortal, you described in great pain what befell your village. Nearby, just a couple of miles from the forest, laid a small community which had been attacked by gnolls. You described through pained breaths how your mother and father were cut down, eaten in front of you and your siblings, whilst you hid. Then, once night came, you and your brothers ran until your legs could not carry you any further. That is when you stumbled across my little forest and got lost. I remember that zeal in your eyes, pet. Those dark emeralds shone with a fiery vehemence as you thirsted and craved for revenge. So you pleaded for help, for power, for anything at all to help you achieve it. What you didn't realize then was that I was not some benevolent spirit there to guide you. No, you were more akin to a pathetic fly stuck in my web, and I simply had more important matters to attend than eating you or disposing your carcass from my land. So imagine my surprise when the little lamb said those words to me. Please, I'll do anything at all. That is what I mean when I say you have this aura of desperation around you. You are just so easy to take advantage of. My little hero. Should we reenact that little scene which played on next? It's one of my favorites, though it wouldn't be a bit vain now that you no longer have anything to sacrifice. But back then it was so delectable. We were standing about this far apart. You were on the ground and I kneeled down until our noses almost touched. I asked you, what would you give for that power that you oh so desired? Anything. Really. Anything at all? I was never interested in material possessions, so your family house and everything you owned could never do. But your soul could do the trick. No need to look so embarrassed now. Back then you sure weren't in the slightest amount. With zero hesitation, zero thought, you said these words to me. Yes, if that's the only thing you want, you can have my soul 10 times over. I wonder, do you regret the pact we made? You would still be alive, maybe married with a family, but you would have always stayed a simple commoner, insignificant, shackled by normality. And now you are here, limbs torn off, and your soul bound to me for eternity before you even reach the summer of your life. I certainly had my doubts about our deal, especially considering how long you made me wait to reap my reward. I had no doubt in my mind that soon after you left my little adobe, you would meet your timely end. What could a little whelp like you even do to a mad and mean noble? It seems I underestimated you then. How much blood you spilled with my powers, how many lives you quenched with your hands, and how many corpses you sowed. Exhilarating. You soon figured out who I really was, didn't you? I guess the method of sealing our pact was a bit unusual. But I know for a fact how much pleasure you took when our lips touched and my tongue had entangled yours. How you blushed, the guilt and shame of having your soul branded with a kiss. The absolute ecstasy of godly powers surging through your veins, elevating you higher and higher above all mortal men and beasts. You relished it. Your only regret is dying so soon. So you didn't mind the shame. What a twisted little creature you are. Speaking of dying, what kind of foe managed to do so much damage to your body? Those lacerations were made by something very sharp and very precise, yet your arm looks like to have been torn off. Separate assailants, likely. Or perhaps a dragon used you as its plaything by carefully disemboweling you, and then started plucking your limbs like pears from a tree. Oh, trying to be mysterious now, are we? Is silence the way you're supposed to answer when your god asks you a question? It matters not that you are ashamed of succumbing to some weak threat, even if you won't admit it. I can just take a look myself. What do I mean? Well, you could say that you are not technically dead yet. This is your twilight hour. Or seconds, I should say. You are lying on the cold, hot ground as blood is gushing out of your wounds. If those injuries are not tended to, our contract will be fulfilled as I reap my harvest. And I'd say that is bound to happen very, very soon, as your situation is getting dire. You see, time passes differently here, in your subconsciousness. We could talk and talk and talk almost forever, but that is not what I came for, so I will be speeding up this play. No? Do you think you have a say in this? Or do you think your friends will be able to save you? I mean, look at your body. Or what remains of it. Even if your wounds are somehow stabilized, do you think you will win whatever battle you are fighting? Oh, please, it's just prolonging the inevitable by a few miserable minutes. I can see the cleric rushing towards your oozing corpse. Oh, it's not looking good for you, my hero. The wizard seems to be unconscious and the other three are barely holding on. It seems that your wannabe savior is about to meet her end as well. What a crying shame that you were the first to leave, without even saying goodbye, that is. Truly so unfair. What do you mean? You've got to help me. But you want me to just snap my fingers and restore you to life? Why in the nine hells would I ever do something like that? Out of the goodness of my heart? Oh, please. I am insulted you might even insinuate something like that. Have you not learned anything about me through all the years we've been together? That is truly disappointing. You'd give anything at all. Oh, hero, you don't have anything left to give. I've recounted our old tale because I had a feeling you'd say something like this. But it seems you are too dumb to connect the dots. You are nothing. You have nothing of value to me except what you already promised and what I am due. Don't look at me with those pitiful eyes. It's not going to do you any favors, especially not after you only used me for my powers. When was the last time you spoke to me, just for the hell of it, instead of asking for something? No, I won't restore your body, imbecile, I already told you. Are you out of your mind? A kiss? Do you think I take any enjoyment out of intermingling my divine presence with your filthy mortal lips? I should destroy you right now for the sheer audacity. But there is something you can do for me. Now, hero, I might but suggest it, since I doubt you'll be ready to pay such a high price. Anything, really. Well, since I already have your soul and what remains of your bloodied body, how about the soul of someone else? Would you do that for me? Yes, it is true that you already extinguish plenty of lives with my power. However, their souls were not mine to claim. You see, each mortal soul has to be judged before it can be sent to a god's domain. But there exist certain caveats which can bypass this tedious procedure. How? Aren't you eager to know, pet? It is quite simple, really. All you have to do is inscribe a runic circle on the ground with the sequence of my domain. Etch the creature's true name in the middle, overlap congruent machinal branches, and lastly, spill the entirety of the creature's life force atop the circle. No, it does not sound like a sacrificial ritual. It's merely the necessary procedure you will have to undertake if you want to save your friends. Well, some of them. What do I mean? For the soul offering to work, you need to know their true name. Otherwise, they will just be sent to the fugue plane. What better way to fulfill this obligation than with one of the people you know so well? Think about it. After all these years together, you know practically everything about them. If you want to make another bargain, then I want you to sacrifice one of your party members first. Quiet now, are you? Didn't you say that you would do anything? Why are you shy now? If you do this for me, if you sacrifice one of your friends in the next month, I will return you to life right this moment. All your wounds will be mended, and your strength just as it was at the start of the day. With one flick of the wrist, you would be able to turn the tide, save everyone, and live another day. And let me tell you, the situation is looking very dire indeed. You can choose one sacrifice each month for the rest of your pathetic life, starting with one of your friends, or an eternity as worm feed. Are you having a hard time making a choice, hero? Is this truly a price too high for you to pay? After all those years that you spent saving innocents, what are a couple lives taken in my name? Not all of them have to be people you know, just the first one. Why? Because I just love that troubled and doubting expression on your pathetic face. You are actually considering it. Maybe it will be the knight. An easy kill, that's for sure. He trusts you completely. Even though he is a mastered swordsman, he would never expect one of his most trusted companions to run a dagger through his heart. Do you remember all the drinks you shared over the dying embers of a campfire? Talking about your past, your regrets, and how you want to make the world a better place. What better time would it be to mark him in my name than while the sun still hasn't graced a new day, in the darkness of the woods? Or perhaps the cleric, a charming, caring, innocent little creature. How dutifully she attends to your insecurities, listening with an open heart to every single one of your worries. She might even have feelings for you. A slave which sold their soul to me, I would relish in the thought of you taking a hand and walking to some secluded, faraway alcove, and as her mind dances and plays with whatever romantic fantasy she might have, you ram your hand through her chest and rip out her naked heart bare. Or would you prefer either the wizard or the paladin? Well, the other two would be good friends. These never breached above being acquaintances, did they? You trust them, yes, but do they trust you? You saw how their gaze follows your every move, how they keep an eye open during the night when it's your watch. They suspect you of being a monster, an agent of carnage and endless hunger. So should you trust them, when any day now they could cut you down where you stand? All the accusations you brushed off with a joke are still burning hot in their minds. So why not get them first? Get rid of them before they plunge your cold corpse back into my grasp. You don't need them anyway. They are nothing but pebbles on your path which need to be kicked off the road. You will do it. I expected you to struggle more, to try and reason and bargain and plead. But it seems that you have made your choice. It shall be so. Once again, your body will be invigorated with my powers, and you shall shine as a paragon of my will. Now go. Do not disappoint me, pet. And remember who you belong to.